καλησπέρα σας και καλώς ορίσατε στο Θέατρο Μαρία Κάλλας. Χαίρομαι ιδιαίτερα που βλέπω στο ακροατήριο, εκτός από συνέδρους και πολίτες της Αθήνας. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Levy, on behalf of all of us at the Democracy and Culture Foundation, welcome to the 13th Athens Democracy Forum in association with the New York Times that we convene in cooperation with the City of Athens and the Kofi Annan Foundation. This week marked the 80th, it marked the closing of the UN General Assembly, and it also marked the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. It should have been a moment of celebration. Instead, 2025 forces us to confront the reality that the international order that was created in 1945 is faltering. As we meet here, the Israeli genocide in Gaza continues, almost met with apathy. Although the walkout during Netanyahu's speech was perhaps one hopeful sign, as was the wider recognition of the Palestinian state. In response to this, and in times like these, we have decided at the Democracy and Culture Foundation to open this year's plenary not with panels and keynotes, but with the City of Athens Democracy Award, to honor those who share courage and show courage against injustice. In the darkest moments, activism and bravery need to be celebrated. The warning signs of breakdown have been visible for decades, but ignored by those in power and many of our politicians. What was once a new reality after the 1989 fall of the Berlin Wall has hardened into today's hard realities. From Iraq and Afghanistan to Libya, Ukraine, Sudan, Gaza, and beyond, the misuse of force has become routine, often dressed up as defense. International law is weakened. Many governments are not listening. Human suffering sidelined, and unresolved disputes spark new cycles of violence. This erosion, though, goes beyond security. The global economy has shifted from cooperation to rivalry. Tariffs and trade wars disrupt supply chains. The WTO is adrift. Inequality, which corrodes democracy, has skyrocketed. The wealth of the top 1% could end poverty many times over, while most citizens face stagnation, starvation, and uncertainty. No surprise then that trust in institutions has collapsed, fueling populists and extremists. Meanwhile, progress of the 17 SDGs has stalled. Globalization once moved the needle, helped lower poverty significantly, but deglobalization has reversed momentum. Hundreds of millions still lack food, electricity, or water in a world richer than ever. And the climate emergency races ahead, with the greatest burden falling on those left least responsible. This is our reality, a hard reality. But it is not the whole story. History proves what cooperation can achieve. Smallpox eradicated, the ozone layer preserved, labor rights advanced. The problem is not that multilateralism is obsolete, but that it is outdated. The structures of 1945 cannot meet the challenges of 2025. New powers, technologies, and threats demand new approaches and new visions. And where better to explore these approaches than Athens? Mr. Mayor, in particular to you, too often we hear that Athens is the birthplace of democracy. I feel sometimes that's a tired refrain, one that risks turning democracy into something frozen in the past. Athens can play a different role. Positioned in the south of the global north, but the north of the global south, it can be an incubator of ideas, a place where democracy can evolve from the place that it was born, but the focus being on evolution. Not a system to be defended in old forms, but one renewed for our times. This is also the mission of the Democracy and Culture Foundation, to help democracy evolve by empowering society through citizen engagement and better governance. You cannot have good governance without citizen participation. That is why we gather here under the theme of new visions for hard realities. We must rethink the global order. Is it by turning it down or rebuilding on a fairer, more inclusive foundations? We will hear more about this in a very exciting debate later this evening. Tomorrow morning, we will rethink populism by addressing its roots in inequality and mistrust while protecting democracy from division and hate. And the day after, we must rethink international trade, reshaping it to serve societies and not just markets and profits. This forum is about these issues, but more than diagnosing problems, it is about courage and imagination, the courage to confront the realities of war, inequality, and climate collapse, and the imagination to build a future anchored in cooperation, in dignity, in trust. If we rise to this challenge, 2025 will not be remembered as the year of collapse that many of us fear, but as the year when democracy found its strength to evolve. The same can also be said of multilateralism and civil society, and it gives me immense pleasure to see so many foundations joining us this year as supporters. Foundations like Lumina, Charles Kettering, Open Society Foundations, McCain Institute, the Lodestar Foundation, Global Challenges Foundation, Bertelsmann, Kofi Annan Foundation, and so many others that are in this audience. It is heartening that we're all gathering together at these times when all these things like USAID are taking place. And these fairly new supporters for the Athens Democracy Forum are joining our supporters from previous years, like Google, Microsoft, TikTok, Oracle, and others. Thank you for your support to all our supporters, and thank you to all of you in the audience and our speakers for making this year's program so robust. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct pleasure and honor to call on the Mayor of Athens to bestow the 2025 City of Athens Democracy Award to this year's winner. Mr. Doukas, thank you for your support, and the floor is yours.